So, back to the beginning again, when I first came to Cincinnati, even before that, when I opted not to fund Cincinnati with a national grant, the reason was because there was really no infrastructure, there was no capacity for community development in neighborhoods. There were small groups that had a little bit of money from the city, and there wasn't much they could do with that. They were all volunteer, no staff. There just wasn't capacity.
Neighborhoods don't erode overnight. They erode really like decades. So the investment takes decades. It takes patient funding if in fact we're going to see change.
What is needed in each community will vary, so the communities can focus on the needs that the residents have said.
It gets back to that community voice. Like,
yes.
What does your community need? It's going to be different than what your community needs, and then how do we lean into that and honor that?
Yes.
I think that's probably one of the single biggest reasons that are the benefits of bringing LISC to Cincinnati is that throughout the early days and all the way through COVID, all LISC did was serve to build capacity in neighborhoods. There was no other entity that could do that at the time.
One of the keys of what LISC really always stood for is resident engagement in defining and executing their own future. That's how a neighborhood can thrive, and that's what LISC has supported in so many different ways.
The beautiful thing about LISC is that you have these local chapters that are very familiar with the landscape and they know exactly what's going on, but they're connected to a larger national network. And so they have access to what's happening in different regions and different cities, and they're able to talk to their colleagues nationally and use that information to help inform what's happening on the local level.
When they brought together all of the groups in the city to work on housing our future and said, we are going to make sure that everybody from nonprofits, from the people that live in these communities, to the elected officials, to the city and county administration, are all coming together to look at housing comprehensively, I think that was just a really key turning point within our community. LISC has then really worked to develop that as something that they are doing. They've raised money, they've brought funds, they've created a program. LISC itself not only brought people together, but then they took some of those initiatives and continued to work with us and other community partners to make it happen.
In 2013, there was a coffee shop called the Pleasant Perk that abruptly closed. At the time, I was not working. My kids were in grade school, so we decided that we would just take over the lease and start the coffee shop back up. We operated there for 5 years, from 2013 until 2018, and in June of 2018 had a fire that started actually in the apartments above our space, but it resulted in our entire building being torn down. It was still very, very scary. And I remember being on several calls with Kristen about, she just had her finger on the pulse of what other people were doing also. And it was kind of like a nurse in a triage. She was like, okay, well, these are things that are working for other people. And they did delay our loan payments, which was amazing, and the only way really that we could continue to pay our staff. It really helped get through some difficult months. So now we've been in this space 5.5 years, and it's going really well.
We had this bold vision to acquire an entire block of properties, and had a little bit of cash and had an agreement with the sellers to buy the properties, and we were able to sort of cobble together some of our cash with a pre-development loan from LISC, as well as an acquisition loan from them to really kickstart that big dream. And no traditional bank would have given us that money. Nope. And it was really because LISC was able to jump into that space, to take a higher risk and say, like, we believe in this project, we believe that you all have the capacity to make this happen, that project was able to happen. And I really do think, without LISC being in that space, first of all, that project wouldn't happen, but a lot of our projects throughout the city.
For me, there just aren't many groups like LISC who will actually lend at a scale that allows you to have an impact with complex financing that you need in order to take on real neighborhood revitalization at scale.
Just being in the same room with Kristen, she's really passionate about what she does and sincere. Two words come to mind when I think about her: is intentional and creative. And just through sharing a lot of what our development needs were, as well as a lot of the client development needs, being community developers, and in that space, Kristen actually, upon herself and her staff, reached back out to us and my team to let us know about updated funding that LISC had in the pre-development space that literally bridged that gap to move it to the next level.
People they're the best answers to their own lives, right? They know what they need, they know what they want, they know what their goals are, and how can we in this space really help facilitate that? And that's really the work that we do at LISC. The heart of it is about how are we enhancing and supporting and uplifting the assets of our neighbors and of our community together. LISC's support of community development and community development organizations is really the bedrock of what we do. I mean, without CDC's neighborhood development simply doesn't happen in the same way, if at all. So I think that for us, it's really making sure that we continue to provide the high quality technical assistance, the support, the training. You know, we bring a perspective to the work because we can see on the horizon, you know, what's happening at the city level, at the state level, across the country. We know what has worked in other communities and what might work here. And so we really want to make sure that we continue to bring that support to our organizations.
So WIN is excited to have worked with LISC for the past 25 years and is excited to continue working with them because of our shared values that are focused on people and communities and helping improve quality of life. It makes sense for us to work together, and we look forward to the future working with LISC.
Well, one of the important ways that LISC supported Newport was they partnered with us and offered the technical assistance and support for us to be able to do a quality of life planning process here. You know, so that ability, you know, to take your strengths and then partner with others to accomplish things is really what LISC has done and really where they shine.
Yeah, I mean, I think looking forward, I hope we continue to build on the foundation that we've been doing and continuing to create communities where communities feel like they're part of the solution, that they've been in, that their voice is heard, that we see all this work continuing to scale.
Yes.
And that we won't be talking about just one or two neighborhoods or 3 or 4 neighborhoods.
No.
We'll be talking about a region that's thriving in every neighborhood. And that everybody that lives, no matter where they live, they feel like they have all that they need to make their families reach their fullest potential.
But one of the things that's really important about what LISC can do nationally and locally is stay with it. I mean, It is nothing short of remarkable that from the day it became Community Investment Partners until today, when it's still called Place Matters, that's 27 years of progress, of success, and of funders staying the course. I mean, who does that? We are very special here in Cincinnati.
So true.
And LISC has been the anchor for that, and it makes me very proud.